Hey y'all, welcome to Stivers Homestead. I'm Zach.
And I'm Jen.
And you know that we like to enjoy these Friday kind of sit back and chat with you all. A lot of the stuff that you all get to see are just very little glimpses of our life. So this is like catch-up day. And we thought today would be a great option to do Q&A.
Yeah.
We haven't done one since we've been at this place,
Yeah.
I don't think.
Maybe one time.
Maybe. But it's been a really long time since we've done so. Well, you all ask us a lot of questions. It's not always easy to get to all of them in the comments, and some of them require voicing it. It's too much to kind of type out. So we've picked the top 5 things that we get asked, and we thought we'd share with you.
Yep.
Some are easy, some are a little spicy. Before we get into the questions, we did have a couple of housekeeping things that we want to talk about. The Etsy store is stocked with some awesome new tinctures. So what you got in there? This is the 4th time we tried to clip this part. Done clipping it. Get it right this time. What's in there?
All right, we've got elderberry again because it's been so popular. Go ahead and get your elderberry and get stocked up for the wintertime,
Yep.
but also it's good in the summertime too. There are so many things floating around that are contagious right now. Nasty bugs, nasty stomach stuff. Get your elderberry.
Yeah.
We have a astragalus root, which is a new one. It's very popular. It's a lot like elderberry, just a little bit separate properties, but not too many. It's good for your immune system, boosting your immune system and all that kind of stuff. We have nettle leaf, chickweed herb, raspberry leaf, and rosemary. So all of the rest of those are so popular. They're really becoming more popular. People are starting to get into them, but they're also not 100% accessible all the time to everyone, which is what we try to do. We try to get the ones that you can't necessarily get or afford, and then we make it into medicine so that you all can love them.
Yeah, and I will say, because the burdock root did so well, I would say all of these are very similar to the properties of burdock root. So if you weren't able to get that, these will cover. If you're in the Etsy store, there's a description. You might have to expand it, but she breaks down everything it covers. So just make sure you're looking, check it out, and there's quite a few in there, so get them while they last. Right out the get-go, you're getting a bonus question. We thought it would be good to give you a summary of where we are, who's here, all that good stuff, because that in a bulk is like one of the top questions that we receive. So break it down for them, baby. Where are we?
Yeah, so we've been in Kentucky for a very long time now. We did live in North Carolina for a very short amount of time. But we just moved from Frankfort 2 years ago to southeastern Kentucky. That is where we now live on a 12-acre farm. We have 2 houses. So it's us and our kids in this one and Jed in the basement. And then up on top of the hill is our other house where his mom and my aunt lives together with their dog. So we're all very close. Like we can see each other and we can see the houses. But that's kind of the breakdown of who's here and what everyone does.
And Jet is her brother.
Yes.
That was the only one that was left off with the title with. But yeah, that's all of us. Okay, now that y'all know where the compound is. Oh, anybody that wanted to visit the store, Google Jenny's Farmstead. Like, you can get it, you can get all the address and stuff like that you need, because I know that's a lot of questions too. Jenny's Farmstead, we're on Google.
Yep.
All right, jumping right into it. We have a little cheat sheet over here so we can write it down. Number 1 question. What do I do for a living, and do I have a job outside of the homestead? At this moment, yes.
Not for long.
Yeah. So I work for a healthcare company. I do nothing to do with healthcare. I'm on the digital side of things for the website and the app. I do not know how to code, but I just manage the people that do know how to do those things. I have been working there ever since we went back to Kentucky. That company actually got us back to Kentucky from North Carolina. Been there ever since. A lot of things, if you've been watching the channel for a while, you know a lot of stuff that's came up with this company. But even that aside, our goal has always been for us to be 100% on the farm, 24/7. We are this close.
Very close.
Very close. I will be leaving my job sooner rather than later, and going full-blown farm.
Yeah. So next question is about homeschooling. If you don't know, we have 2 kids, Wyatt and Raylan. Wyatt is 8 and Raylan is 6, almost 7, and Wyatt is almost 9. And we do homeschool. We've homeschooled since the very beginning. Wyatt did try out school for a little bit, didn't work out, but we wanted him to have the option. And he did, and he didn't like it. So we've been homeschooling basically the entire time that they have been of age to school, even from basically 2 years old.
Yeah.
So we kind of do a mix, and this is a lot of the question of what do we use? Is it a specific curriculum? What's our schedule like? All those things that people want to know when they're thinking about homeschooling and trying to get into it. So from day one with Wyatt, we've used Abeka. However, it has been very loose Abeka. We did the videos for a little bit. That didn't really work out for our family and style. So we just kind of use the curriculum from them, some of the workbooks, mainly the math. He is an accelerated reader, always has been. He learned to read when he was 6 years old, so he kind of does that on his own. He is actually at a 6th grade level for his reading, so that's awesome.
He's going into third?
Yes.
Going into third grade.
If you count grades. We don't really count grades, but if you had to put a number on it, he will technically be going into third.
Right.
However, he's more of even for math, even at a 4th grade level.
Yeah.
So we use the workbooks loosely, and then we kind of just make our own curriculum for him. He is very interested in technical and digital coding, video, stuff like that. So that's his personal interest that he works on, as well as the animals. And then he's always staying up to date on math and reading. He basically teaches himself.
Yeah.
We can teach him a little bit, but he is the smartest kid I've ever known. So he teaches himself everything. Yeah. That's the best I can say.
He's a show him one time kind of guy,
yes.
And he's like, I got this.
He picks it up and figures it out. So as far as like sitting down and having to teach, I don't have to do much of that with him. He'll come to me with a question, and then he'll teach himself the rest. He's very good with money too. He knows how to count all the money.
They both are.
Raylan is kind of a different story. She's a different kid. She's still learning to read. She can read. We're just kind of expanding the words and learning how to put bigger sentences together. But if you give her a sentence, she can read it out loud. She can read text. She can read all kinds of stuff. And she is 6 years old right now, so that's pretty good.
Kindergarten, 1st grade time frame.
Yeah. As far as math, we haven't used the Abeka books yet. She just kind of follows behind Wyatt. She does know basic math. She knows how to add. She hasn't really figured out subtracting yet, but we'll get there. She's only 6 years old.
Yeah.
But this coming up school year, we are still kind of going back and forth with what we're going to do and what we're going to use. I'm just not sure yet. I'm open to suggestions. I hate to take Wyatt off of Abeka because it has been so good and he is so advanced. I'm afraid that if I put him on a different curriculum, that he'll be bored, basically, because he'll know everything. I don't know, but with that being said, I'm still open to suggestions. So we've always used Abeka, but if any of you have any other suggestions, let us know, because we are open to switching.
Yeah, absolutely. The only thing I'll add is, like, when she said we did the videos, the reason we stopped doing the videos is because it was this full-blown school. Mm-hmm. Like, it's literally, Abeka also is taught in schools, the curriculum is, and it's just a camera in the back.
Yeah.
And as good as it was, the whole point of homeschool was for them to not have to be stuck in school for like 7 hours, and that definitely made it really long.
Where I wouldn't say that we are unschoolers. We're not unschoolers by any form of the way, because our kids do know so much of basic curriculum, but at the same time we don't necessarily like the structure of all the school for so many hours a day. So that's where we're kind of teetering back and forth with Abeka or not. It's a hard decision.
Yeah, I mean, if like somebody's giving birth out there, if there's a farm thing, school stops and we go learn farm and outside stuff.
Yeah.
Before we do move on to the next question, you know, that was our daily routine, but we do understand that homeschooling is like really starting to get as a hot topic for a lot of families, and trying to figure out if it's possible, if you all can do it, because just the world, right? Like, it's just becoming one of those things. I would say at the beginning, I was the non-believer because I was very just static, right? Like very regular childhood, school, all the different things, both parents working. She was not. She was homeschooled for a while, and then went into the public school, so she got to taste both. And as always, any of you all that are sitting there like, what about the social part? Like, I get it. I know. That's where my mind was too at the beginning. I promise you, our kids are probably more socially outgoing than...
Oh, they definitely are.
Yeah,
They're definitely
than
more
some of the
socialized than at least public school kids here. And I can say that with 100% fact.
Yeah.
Because I've seen them put up next, and they are more mature. They have better manners. They're more polite. I mean, that's not saying anything bad. It's just the facts.
Well, the facts of it are what you're thinking about the social piece isn't how school is now. You know, there is a lot more electronics that are involved, so it's a lot more texting, a lot of more social media. Even when they are face-to-face, they're still not talking. So what we had as a child isn't the same anymore as going into school. It's just different. So I would say, if you are thinking about it, take the plunge. We did it. She told me that was her dream and her goal when we got married. We've told this before, but I was making $9 an hour, and we was like, let's do it. And we figured it out. You know, it was definitely hard, but we figured it out. So if you're on that fence, just dive in, just try it out. And the good thing about it is, you can always change, right? So at least taste the waters. So that's 2 questions down. Moving on straight to number 3. This one we do get asked a lot because anybody that is teetering within farming and homesteading have children that are homeschooling, and if you're working outside of the farm, whether work from home or having to leave, how do we balance the work, farm, homeschool, children, fun life? How's all that balanced out? I will say that is a little struggle of ours because we do have a lot of plates that are being filled, or what's the old buckets with the hose and stuff. We're filling them all the way around and nothing's getting full. But that's why we're really getting serious about me getting rid of my outside job. We have gotten to a point where we want to focus our time and energy on our brand that we're building for the money part of things, allowing us to free up a lot of time for our children, for the farm and stuff like that. Because even though I do work from home 100%, I'm on meetings most all days, and it's one of those where I can't get away. So I'm stuck on a laptop from 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. And that's a lot of valuable time that we're missing and that we're having to do, after dinner.
Not every day is going to be completely successful. You're not going to fill all the buckets or fill all the plates in one day. It's just not possible. Some days you will, and then you'll look back and you'll be like, man, that was a good day. I hope we can have that kind of day again tomorrow. Will it happen? Who knows?
Right.
You just never know what's going to come out your way. Something random can be thrown in. In the summertime, the garden is producing. You've got harvest coming in, and you can predict what's going to come in and what you're going to do with it, how you're going to preserve it. But something else might explode that day that you weren't ready for, and then you have a whole plate of cucumbers, and you have to figure out what to do with them. And those are the days where Becca doesn't work out for us because the kids have to follow us along in the kitchen or learn how to can or help us get the weeds out of the garden, or we have to go to the barn and everybody has to have a job cleaning, giving water, checking animals. It's a day-to-day thing that you have to figure out. You cannot sit down the day before and say, okay, here's a timestamp of everything that we're going to do. You could, and it might happen, but most likely it's not going to. You can have a roundabout idea of what you're going to do and then say, okay, here's the loose hours for that, or here's time management for that. And then if that doesn't happen, how can we figure out how to put that later or tomorrow or maybe even next week?
Yeah, she's a big list person, but one thing with her list is she leaves capacity.
Yes.
Right, so it's obviously we know we could get all that done in a day, but you got to leave, I would almost say 50% of free time of what is the farm going to deliver us today that we have to adjust with. But having reasonable lists that you know that you can get done even if things go crazy are the best way that we try to balance
priorities things. And always making sure the children's plates are full.
Yeah.
Food and
literally
mentally. You always have to make room for that, and some days it's hard and you're exhausted, but it's still got to be done.
That's right. As the garden is getting going, one of the top questions that we have is, what is our favorite canned or preserved item? It's very important to know what you like and what you dislike, so you're canning what you'll eat and not canning what you won't eat. So this is an easy one for me. Well, no, I just thought about it. Mine's kind of changed up a little bit. Yeah. So it used to be green beans and taters together. We have a video of it. She canned green beans and taters together. It's such a fantastic, perfect side for any meal. It's hearty. It gives you 2 sides all in one jar, and it is good. However, I would say if I'm actually talking about my favorite preserved item, because taking veggies out of this, canned meat. I love canned pork, canned deer, canned roast. I love it. It is the most tender, delicious meat that you will ever have. So I would have to say those are probably my top 2.
I'd have to say, overall, just canned vegetables, not pickled, but actually pressure canned vegetables. Mm-hmm. They're just such an easy side to reach for. I love carrots, but I think my favorite would have to be corn. We shuck our corn right off the cob, and then we can it, and it's so sweet and so good, and you just throw an onion on top of it, and it's a wonderful side. Oh,
man, that is good. Man, you make me want to switch mine up. All of them. No, but I would agree. I would say anything that's just grabbable. The pickled stuff's fun. I love having soups. Mm-hmm. That's a number one thing that I like having in there, because that's another great hearty meal to just dump, warm up, and you're good to go. Oh, there's too many. There's a few. And speaking of canned and preserved foods, prepping is becoming another very popular thing right beside homeschooling. That has been kind of a surge, which is beautiful to see. I'm loving it. But one of the big questions that we have, I'm new, I want to start prepping. What are the items I should get first?
Obviously, the best and easiest thing to preserve is anything that comes from your homestead or farm.
Yeah.
However, that's not always the case. We've always preached that if you can't grow or garden or raise animals on your place, then go to the grocery, find deals, preserve that food, whether it be canning, freezing, dehydrating, freeze drying. All of that is still very important. You can find deals on everything every now and then that you can buy in bulk and then put up. I think that my top items would be dry goods, whether that's pastas, rice, beans, grains, flour, sugar. All of that are kind of the staples that you need. I love our canned food, and it will take us a very long way. However, some of it's extra, like salsas and jams and jellies. They're wonderful things that will fill our bellies if they have to, but your staples that will make more of a meal, like beans or rice, that you can put into anything and they will make a full meal. And flour and sugar you can never have too much of.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. Rice was going to be my number one, because even though rice isn't the greatest thing for you, if we're actually in that situation to where you're having to just eat something, rice is filling. And there's plenty of flavors you can add to rice to change it up every day. And like she said, flour, that's a huge one. So if I'm going away from the dried good area, I would actually go away from food in general. It would be water. So figuring out a water source for you for long term. Remember, you can survive a little bit longer without food, but you can't survive that long without water. So getting some kind of filtration system. We have a Berkey that we use, stocking up on the filters themselves. Mm-hmm. So don't just buy the Berkey. Those filters will go bad eventually. They last a really long time. But have you a couple in the pantry or in your stockpile to save up on, and then make sure you're figuring out where your water is going to come from. Obviously, the Berkey can filter some very dirty water, but you have to be able to get to it. So whether that's a creek that you have nearby, or if you're collecting rainwater, I do not recommend hoarding water bottles. Yeah. That's not going to help you, because we drink a lot of water, and what you think is a bunch is going to go quick. And then if you
can't take it with you.
Exactly. It's not easily accessible. The Berkey is light. You can take that thing right with you. We also have life straws. So life straws are something that you can wear around your neck, and it's actually a straw that has a filter in it that you can, on the move, be able to get water, clean water, wherever you need to go. So that would be my recommendation, is some kind of water source, figuring out what you're going to do there, and something that's going to continue to give you water, not water bottles. The last question, we're going to end on a little bit more fun note, all about YouTube. So it's obviously not a huge interest that a lot of people have. We do have a lot of channels that follow us, but we don't get a whole lot of questions about YouTube, but it is our employer, technically, when it comes to what we're able to provide to you. And a lot of people ask, censorship, likes, dislikes, stuff like that. What do you think about it? Well, I guess the best way I can express that we love YouTube is I'm willing to quit my job over it. I'm willing to quit what I've worked my career for, because of what YouTube and you all have created for us. Mm-hmm. We very much love everything about YouTube. Obviously, there's bad comments and things like that, but our skin's getting tight, and we see all the ones that we do love, and you all very much empower all the bad ones that come in.
Well, that's most of what people say. They don't ask, but they'll make a statement like, "I don't know how you do it," right, or "I don't know how you deal with the bad comments." And I never know how to respond, because I'm like, I guess you notice them more than I do, because I just don't care anymore.
Yep.
Our skin has just gotten so thick, and not even that, but just the people that you all that have loved us so much and made us a part of your daily lives, and you become a part of our daily lives. The other ones just don't matter. Yeah. One bad comment in the middle of 15, it just doesn't affect us or do anything to us. And I wish that every YouTuber could have that same view, because it would be a whole lot less hostile out there. A lot of people just soak in all the bad stuff, and it makes it hard to continue to YouTube if that's what you focus on. Thankfully, it doesn't bother us.
Yeah, agreed. And we didn't just come out the gate tough skin. It took getting railed down a little bit, and then it's okay, now we know how to just deal with them and move on. To be honest, our biggest thing is we like to use those to drive some more videos, because if people are thinking certain ways, kind of like the previous video we had, we know others, you all that do care, might be getting told the same thing, and so we like to share that connection with everyone. Listen, we're all getting that. Let's talk about the good kind
of thing. People are good. Most people are good.
Most people are good, and that's the best thing to remember. The only other thing that gets brought up a lot to us with YouTube is about censorship. Knock on wood, we haven't had any issues. Y'all seen some of our videos. We don't hide anything.
Now, you can't blatantly put a copyrighted song on your video.
Right, music.
You will get flagged.
yeah. But when it comes to actually censoring, like, homesteaders, at least for our case, we haven't had any issues, thankfully. I think as long as you don't poke the bear too hard, he ain't going to poke back at you, and you can just live in the middle.
And we've said some pretty shiesty things.
yeah.
And they've left us alone.
Right.
So I have to say, overall, we don't feel censored whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, think about the last chicken butchering video we did. That one, I was pretty certain it probably was going to, but I wanted to show the full thing because of our event. But anyways, yeah, I mean, we just have it at this time. But we'll see if that ever came across. Like we said in the last video, we'll just adjust to move forward. All right, sitting in the kitchen. This one's been a doozy to try to get through. Everything is with her and I, though, but that's the fun of everything. This was fun. I enjoyed it. Did you enjoy it?
Me too, I did. Yeah.
We'll try to do it another couple months or so when it comes out, find some new questions that y'all are asking. But always remember down in the comments, keep asking them. We are looking and we are tracking, and that builds up to some of these kind of videos that we have that are out there. But we hope y'all enjoyed that.
Comments, questions, or suggestions on what our Friday talks should be about, because I really enjoy the Friday talks.
Yeah.
And we want to make it relevant. So if you have ideas, throw them at us.
Yeah, anything. Nothing's off the table. Like we said, not censored, right? All right, y'all. If you're new around here, make sure to hit that subscribe button for us.
Love y'all.
Until the next one.
Bye.
Bye.